my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is part 7 of this unboxing. We got all of these slabs to go through. I'm not sure what's in them again, but I think I kind of tried to organize a little bit where I created themes. Hope I did that this time. We'll see. Last time it was crime. Hopefully we'll get some interesting theme this week for this episode. Oh, I think I know what the theme is. Actually, just by the very first book. I think I remember doing this, where it is Good Girl. So if you like Good Girl comics, this is definitely going to be the video for you. So we're going to start out with some Tessy. So let me just take it out of the plastic so you can see it a bit better. There we go. So this is Tessy, the Typist, number 17 from Timely Comics 1948. Okay, and it's a Harvey Kurtzman and C.C. Beck art. So just a really cool, this is right at the height of the Good Girl art craze. So late 40s were really kind of when Good Girl comics and were sort of the dominant flavor of comic books. After the war, comic books had sort of gone from being all about superheroes into other genres like Good Girl and humor. More humor books came out. I think people were a little bit tired of the superheroes. They kind of associated the superheroes with the war because a lot of the propaganda covers were in the superhero books. They wanted something a little bit more lighthearted, and that's why Good Girl became such a popular sub theme. And it was interesting because DC had managed to keep the superhero comics alive throughout this period, but Marvel, it went all in, all in on Good Girl. So there was like so many titles that they created, like Millie the Model, Tessy the Typist, Hetty, there's like so many, Tilly the Toiler, and just like so many different titles, Georgie and Patsy Walker and a whole bunch of them. I think they had 16 titles devoted to Good Girl. Just crazy number of titles. And this is one of them. Tessy the Typist, number 17 from 1948. And as I was saying, another one of the titles that they had was Georgie. And this is an interesting one because she's using Georgie to measure and create the dress. And you get her friends, and they're going, "Oh golly, doing anything tonight?" And they're kind of making fun of him. They're kind of hitting on him for wearing a girl's dress. That was back when, very different times. Nowadays, they would say, "Oh, he's trans," but back then, it was seen as humor when a guy would wear a girl's dress. Let me just take this one out of the plastic as well, so you can see it a bit better. So it's just a really cool one. This one I actually got for the cost of the slab. I think I paid $30 for this, which was, I think it was like either an auction or buy it now. I got it really, really cheaply. I was quite impressed that I could get it so cheaply. So cover and first wrap detached is the reason why it's a lower grade. This is from 1946. So Timely 1946. So this is an early Good Girl comic. And you can get big, strong muscles if you follow these exercises. Lift a ton of weights, do that every day, and you'll get big muscles. So, just a really cool one. This one goes for usually a bit more. I was actually surprised when I got it as cheaply as I did. I've seen it listed at quite high prices just because of the bit of the controversy of that guy wearing a girl dress. So, is that one? What's this next one? Next one. See if I can get it out easily. Okay, so we got a bit of a mix here. I thought it was all romance, but this one is not romance. This one is some Precode horror, and it's a title that I'm 2 books away from finishing this series, and this is Mr. Mystery. This one's a really interesting one. It's like you got all these severed heads that make like a totem, and you got the girl, and it looks like she's going to be the next head added to the collection. And Mr. Mystery says, Mr. Mystery again, advising you not to lose your head over this tale, but watch those close shaves next time. He he he. So this is Mr. Mystery number 17 from 1954. Just a really cool book, really cool title. I mean, so many crazy covers, and you can see just even in this one, you see that all the decapitated heads, which is one of those things that Precode horror collectors look for. Decapitated heads, skull covers, girls in bondage, skeletons, all those classic horror elements. The more grotesque, usually the more valuable it becomes for Precode horror collectors. And I kind of like them. I think, I like when they go over the top. I think it's interesting. Because, I just think of the time. It's like, this is like during the 40s and early 50s, mainly early 50s. And, I always think of it as such an innocent time compared to now. And yet the type of books that they had were not so innocent. So it's interesting to see for me. So, yeah, Mr. Mystery number 17 from 1954. Now, the Code was just about to come into play very, very soon after this. The Code came into play in March of 1955. So it's one of the very late Precode horror books. Okay, this next one is more Good Girl. So that one was a little bit off, but in terms of the theme, but we're going back onto the theme with a book called Boots and Her Buddies. So let me take it out of the thing. And I'm not sure who did the cover art. I actually, at one time, I thought it was Alex Schomburg, but I'm not sure. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It's unknown. But yeah, this is Boots and Her Buddies. And I picked this up for like $100. I thought it was a good price for the grade. And it is from Standard Comics 1949, and it's Boots and Her Buddies number 7. There's a few of these that I really want to get from this title. There's another one that I thought was really cool. But I thought this was nice, so I was picking it up. Yeah, so just a nice Boots and Her Buddies. But I'm not sure who the artist is. I did look it up a few times, but I couldn't find any information about who did the cover. So it's one of those unknown. But I thought it looked like Alex Schomburg's art at one point. Next one. Oh, another Mr. Mystery. So, Good Girl plus Mr. Mystery. So this is an interesting mix. So Good Girl plus Precode horror. So this is another Mr. Mystery one, and more of these kind of floating heads, I guess, and they're truly floating in this case. So you got a Mystery number 10 from 1953, and it's a Bernard Bailey cover. Where we have this, such a weird cover. You got this guy with a hook hand. I'm not really sure what's going on. It looks like he's like robbing the graves, and these are all the maybe ghouls that are sort of upset with him for robbing the graves, or I'm not really sure what's going on. But definitely an interesting one. Normally you have Mr. Mystery on the cover, he's there, but usually he's saying what's going on. Mr. Mystery is the narrator of these stories, right? But yeah. So I'm really close to finishing this title off. It's definitely a title I'd like to have all the different covers from, because I think they're cool. The last two that I'm missing are quite expensive, even at low grade. And I've missed out several times on trying to win them at auction. I think 3 or 4 times now, which is really frustrating. I mentioned in the previous video that I'm trying to get the complete run of this one as well. This is Dark Mysteries. And this is number 15 from 1953. It's High Fleischmann cover. And I'll read what's going on. Kiss me, Mary. No one will ever find us here. Wait. Harry's come back from the dead. Now I have the pickaxe with me. You'll never kiss again. So I guess he's very jealous. So yeah. Did they murder him? Who knows? But don't kiss girls in graveyards. It's not really good. It's not healthy. So yeah, so this is Dark Mysteries number 15. Or number 10, sorry. No, number 15. I was right the first time. Number 15. Just a really cool one. Nice skeleton cover. The Dark Mysteries series, as I was mentioning in a previous video, I believe, have a lot of these skeleton covers. I think pretty much every one of their covers is a skeleton cover. So just a really interesting title. Okay, what's next? Oh, wow. Okay, so we're getting some big Precode horror. Okay, this is actually a pretty major Precode horror cover. And I was pretty excited that the guy negotiated fairly well on this one. I was like, okay, I'll go with it. This one was a bit more expensive. It cost me $600. I'm being pretty open about how much I spent. This one is Blue Bolt, and it's also known as Weird Tales of Horror. So Blue Bolt was a series by Fox Featured Syndicate, and then it was taken over later on by Star Publications. So this is from Star Publications, which was L.B. Cole's own company. Like L.B. Cole owned the company. And a lot of these had reprints of earlier Golden Age comics. But these covers are what drive people to collect them. And L.B. Cole did all of the covers, and he did these amazing, just crazy covers. Like this one is just so cool. Look, I mean, there's so many details. We've got to get into them. Got this werewolf guy on the cover. Got these hands that look like, I don't know, are they going to strangle somebody or what's going on there? They're coming from looks like they're coming out of the water. You got this skull. This is his classic skull, by the way. There's a few covers with this skull where it has the hair. I don't know. So that's his classic skull. And then you got this guy, this hooded figure with another skull, like almost like a lantern. I don't know what this guy is, like some kind of demon. Some kind of demon guy. Another hooded figure up here. More skulls. Just a lot of stuff, a lot of detail. These L.B. Cole covers are just amazing in terms of the fine details that he put into them. And they always have that kind of interesting color palette that really makes L.B. Cole's artwork stand out. It almost looks like some blacklight kind of artwork. So just really cool stuff. And this one is quite a high grade. The reason it was so affordable, normally it's a much more expensive book, is it is restored. Now I'll read what it says, slight amateur, so that'd be C1 restoration. And it says amateur restoration includes small amount of color touch on cover, all 3 edges trimmed. So this is one of those ones where it is restored, you can't unrestore it. But it presents beautifully. I mean, it is really nice copy. I always liked this cover. It's one of my favorites actually of LB Cole covers. And to get it in nice high grade like this is just really, really great. The colors on it are just amazing. So that's, I picked that up from Code Blue Comics off Instagram, actually. He seems to have a lot of great stuff. Okay, that was a big book. This next one is another big book. Really major book, major key. This is one of those, used to be under the radar keys, but people kind of learned about it. And I'll get into that in a second. It is wrapped. Sorry for the sounds, but let me get it out. Okay. Okay, this one is War Fury. Now it's a 1.0. It's a low grade. It is what it is. But it's a hard book to find. Even in low grade, it is an expensive book. This is War Fury #1 from Comic Media 1952. It is a Don Heck cover, and it is part of the image used for Horrific #3. Now, Horrific #3 is a cover that is considered to be one of the classic Precode horror covers. And basically all it is a floating head with a bullet right to the right to the temple, not to the temple, to the forehead. And it's a classic cover, and people pay big money for that book. I mean, really big money for that book, like $2,000 or $3,000 per point kind of level of money. Really expensive book. This one they discovered predated that Horrific #3, and it features the same head. Basically what they did was they took that head and then enlarged it and made it the focal point of Horrific #3. And I'll show you that head. It's right there. Now in Horrific #3, you get it this way. That's what Horrific #3 looks like. But to me, this is actually the better book. And I'll explain why. This one is way more horrific than Horrific #3. You got this guy with a flamethrower, and he's like literally lighting the guy on fire. That is insane. And you still have this American soldier who has been shot in the head. Looks like he's trying to get revenge. Murderer, my buddies, will ya? Murder my buddies, will ya? And it's just really, really cool. Really extreme. Like, these flamethrower covers are just amazing. Some of them are just way over the top. They're just a great one. And it's a great Don Heck cover. So yeah. So from 1952. I believe the Horrific #3 came out in 1953. So a year later. So yeah, just a really great one. War Fury #1. So yeah, just a really great book. I was super excited to get this one. So yeah. So that's a major grail. Major grail. It's one that's, was under the radar for the longest time. And then people discovered, oh, hey, there's this earlier book with the same head. And then that one went through the roof after that. So what did you think of these books? A little bit of a weird mix. Precode horror with Good Girl, but hey, it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed these books. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.